Welcome to AM Best Audio.
As pet ownership continues to rise across the United States, so do the insurance, liability, and risk management considerations tied to caring for animals. According to the Insurance Information Institute, growing veterinary costs, increased liability exposures, and expanding pet-related businesses are driving greater demand for specialized insurance solutions. At the same time, significant coverage gaps and low pet insurance adoption rates are creating new challenges and opportunities for insurers, pet owners, and businesses alike. I'm Lori Chortis for AM Best Audio, and joining us now to discuss that and other key insights in the pet insurance market is Louis Nibbelin, a research writer at III. Louis, welcome. So great to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Lori. Thanks for having me.
Louis, what are some of the biggest trends currently shaping the pet insurance market today?
So I should preface my answer by acknowledging that until recently, the pet insurance line fell under the umbrella of inland marine insurance, which is, of course, the catch-all insurance line for property and transport over land. Because pet insurance has evolved so much in recent years, carriers began reporting it as its own line in 2024. So because all these market shifts are still taking shape, it's difficult to isolate data for the pet insurance line from the broader inland marine market to really identify what exactly have been the trends for pet insurance. So working with these constraints, III analysis found that in isolation, the pet insurance market has expanded by more than 10% every year since at least 2018. Direct written premiums in 2025 also hit a record high of more than $5 billion. This was largely driven by most of the largest insurers in the market experiencing double-digit premium growth last year as well. So growth is skyrocketing and remains on an upward trend.
Louis, why is demand for pet insurance continuing to grow, and what factors are driving higher veterinary and claim costs?
Great question. So the demand is growing primarily because pet ownership is growing. The American Pet Products Association reported that 95 million households had at least one pet in 2025. That's somewhere around 70% of households in the US. So the amount people spend every year on veterinary care, which in total was about $41 billion in 2025, that in large part is reflecting the volume of pet exposure among US families. What it's also reflecting is that vet care is becoming more expensive. Like every industry, especially since COVID-19, inflation has heavily impacted both the human and pet healthcare sector. And of course, these expenses were compounded by ongoing changes in US trade policy. So supplies like bandages and syringes became more expensive, and this directly impacts the cost of vet care. The rise also reflects better treatments and technology. Many studies in recent years have suggested that because of improvements in vet care, pet life expectancy has grown significantly around the world. And this is, of course, wonderful news, but that means pet owners are spending more on pet care over time for each pet, which can include more complicated health issues towards the end of a pet's life. All of these things impact pet insurance claims costs if the pet owner is insured.
So what steps can insurers and pet owners take to prevent injuries?
Yeah, so III actually conducted analysis specifically into dog-related injury claims. We found that insurers paid about $1.86 billion in dog-related injury claims last year, which is up by more than 18% from 2024. The average cost per claim was more than $65,000, but the main cause of the total rise to $1.86 billion was frequency. The total number of injury claims rose by more than 25% from 2024, and it also was a 57% rise over the past decade. Again, a huge factor behind this rising frequency is the fact that more people have pet dogs. There are around 90 million pet dogs alone in the United States, according to the American Veterinary Medical Association. That said, there are many preventative steps pet owners can take to help prevent dog bites from happening, and that begins even before adoption. Not every pet is well suited for every family. It's important to adopt a pet that pet owners know aligns with their lifestyle and household, which kind of brings me to my next point, that at least half of dog-related injuries are suffered by children. Young children are especially vulnerable. And that, of course, doesn't mean they can't be around dogs, but pet owners should exercise extra caution and be able to always supervise dogs when they're around kids. Going along with that, it's important to stay educated in positive training techniques and to socialize your pet responsibly. If your pet spends most of their time at home and not around other people or animals, they're more likely to be stressed when they are. So routinely and gently introducing your pet to new situations can go a long way to habituating them to unfamiliar environments.
Absolutely. That's wonderful advice.
Customize your data experience. BestLink now offers an interactive company dashboard that provides company-level intelligence in a fast, user-friendly interface featuring interactive tables, charts, and Sparkline performance histories. Customize the dashboard tiles to prioritize the insurer ratings, data, and analytics that best support your workflow. AM Best. Our insight, your advantage.
Louis, what coverage gaps should pet sitters, dog walkers, and other pet care businesses be most aware of today?
I think to help frame my answer, gig-based work has grown exponentially, especially since the pandemic. When many people think of gig-based work, they think of food and grocery delivery. But another huge booming market is pet sitting and jobs similar to that, like dog walking, pet daycare, even pet boarding out of your own home. Many people who do this don't realize they are not insured for commercial activity. All of these things fall under commercial activity. Most standard homeowners and renters policies will cover dog bite liability, for instance, but these policies traditionally will not cover if a dog you're pet sitting bites someone else, because that isn't your own pet. And if the pet you're pet sitting is injured, pet insurance policies typically don't apply here either. These policies are for accidents or illnesses that occur to your own pet. One common misconception I've encountered is the notion that standard general liability insurance includes coverage for pets. That normally isn't true. Typical standard general liability policies have something called a care, custody, or control exclusion, known as the CCC exclusion, and that essentially denies coverage for damage to someone else's property while it is in your temporary supervision or management, which is not at all to demean how much we love and value our pets. For insurance purposes, pets fall under this exclusion for personal property. And so if something happens while they're under your supervision, say they're injured while under your care, standard general liability policies primarily will not apply. What III recommends before all else is consulting an insurance professional to go over your insurance policy, because every policy is unique. That said, there are a growing number of specialized insurance policies and endorsements that are specifically designed for pet services. Just as an example, if you're in a situation where you want to pet sit and you plan at any point to drive with the pets in your vehicle, so maybe to vet visits or dog parks, you may benefit from an inland marine endorsement in case the pet is injured during transport. But again, most important fact to be aware of for those in any kind of pet-related business is that you may have insurance gaps if you haven't updated your coverage accordingly. It's best to update your coverage before accepting any sort of pet-related gig to avoid facing unexpectedly denied claims and higher legal fees down the line.
Looking ahead, Louis, how do you see the pet insurance and pet-related risk landscape evolving as pet ownership and pet care spending continue to rise?
I appreciate the question. First off, and perhaps most obviously, I see the pet insurance market continuing to grow and more insurers beginning to offer the coverage. Despite all the growth that's been happening in this market, the North American Pet Health Insurance Association reported that fewer than 4% of pets are insured. That signals to us that many pet owners remain unaware of what this coverage is and the value in having it. As ownership and costs rise, it's going to become more and more important for families and their pets to be protected. A growing number of employers are actually responding to this shift. Data from Gallagher Re shows that about 1/3 of employers now offer pet insurance. Personally, I see this becoming more of the standard. More people than maybe ever before see their pets as members of their families. And many of them are investing tens of thousands of dollars over a pet's lifetime into pet care. That just isn't sustainable for a lot of people. So I think having the security of pet insurance coverage for when accidents or illnesses come up will become increasingly crucial for families who just want to keep their pets happy and healthy for as long as they can.
Absolutely. Louis, this has been fascinating, so insightful, and it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me.
That was Louis Nibbelin, a research writer at the Insurance Information Institute. And for AM Best Audio, I'm Lori Chortis.
Looking to get the full attention of the insurance industry? We have the platforms that will do just that. Whether it be AM Best TV, AM Best Audio, Best Review Magazine, or Best Day. Find out more by calling AM Best Advertising Sales at 908-439-2200, extension 5399, and have a great day.